I've ever come across. I mean, your protection is protection with a shotgun. It's not your typical version of protection magic of I'm just going to put a shield around myself right now and I'm going to be safe from everything.
Well,
we're going to take a few steps and we're going to stab you in the friggin' eye if need be if you mess with me. Right.
Protection is by nature a defensive action. Yeah, it's a defensive action. Protection is a defensive action. And when I hear people say, we're going to put a dome over it, a bubble over it, I always use the same example. If you hear there's a wild animal in your neighborhood and all your doors have been open, if you go inside and close the doors and protect yourself, it might be in there with you. So if you're dealing with protection, you have to really look at what is standing next to you. Protection comes from your core outward, and it's a defensive action. A lot of people have come to me for protection in my many, many decades of this experience now, and they have really enjoyed that particular book because it's super clear. So, there's something that can address every part of anyone's life in the work. I try to keep it as, I publish varied pieces so that people can say, right now, what I really need to do is either work on wealth or feel protected or look at selfishness or go to the All White, which is another book that's out talking about clean space and in which to work. So it's all there, but I would start with the suggestions I made earlier.
Absolutely. Awesome. Absolutely. And that you offer those beginner classes and, some pointers to for people to start out is an awesome thing. And
Thank you.
Can move from there.
This is my life's work right here.
Right. And there's all sorts of levels there. So, you can finish up one thing, you can move on to the other. There's, like you said, there's lots of directions to go in, depending on your need and your life at that time.
Right. And if people have confusion or they're not sure about where to start, they can just get a consultation with me and I will walk them through what I feel is the right place for them to begin.
Right. That's actually how Seraphine and myself both started. I think we both booked readings with you.
Yeah.
Years back. And, we worked on some things, one-on-one, and that was awesome. And next thing you know, I'm I'm kind of interested in this, and I'm taking a class, and, here we are today. So.
If the work works, then it works, right, Chris?
It does work. It does work.
Yeah.
And, I credit a lot to you. My life has gotten a lot better since I've known you. So, absolutely.
Well, there's no greater compliment than that, and I take those kinds of statements quite seriously. I appreciate what you're saying, and I'm honored that you're saying it. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I wouldn't say them if they weren't true.
There you go.
So, folks, there you have it. Do we have any questions in chat tonight? What's going on in chat? Anything?
I can't see it, so
I can't. That's okay. I can't either.
Okay.
My computer died. Okay. I'm talking to you on my phone. I was hoping somebody would chirp up. It's like, yeah.
If some of my students are on, that there are questions. We'll do it next time, I guess. Sure, I can. Attending demons, the question is, what are attending demons? I talk about them filling in the gap and whatnot. Attending demons are demons that have experienced enough work with living human beings that they have some sort of direction, ability to communicate, ability to be tangible in some ways, ability to communicate in long thought form, where most demons do not get to that. In my life, I have a number of attending demons. I have 1 through 9 numbered that way. That's the way they came to me, 9 being the most prevalent, and 4 others that I use. What they're able to do is things like recon, things like protection, things like being able to see the higher functioning aspects of energy that I, with my human eyes, don't see as well as they do. They're quite useful. They're quite protectful. But I will say that with all the exorcisms and all the stuff that I've done, I've said this a million times, I would not be alive if it wasn't for 9. He has stood between me and madness so many times. He's taken injury. He stopped things from projectiles from hitting me. He has stepped between me and other demons. When I was living in my house in Scotland, there was a demon in there that was so brutal that I would hover over myself and my daughter when she was enraged.
Wow.
So I really genuinely know, not even feel, but know that I wouldn't be talking to you today if it wasn't for him. Most people have access to attending demons, or at least they could if they wanted to explore that path. It's very important. If you're going to do this work, you need partnership, and those kinds of entities can offer that kind of partnership. Does that answer the question? Hello?
Was there anything else?
I can't hear you. Okay, great. Thank you. Chris, Seraphine, you have any other questions?
I
know you're running over a little bit, so.
Yeah, we're running over a little bit, but I was going to say, with everything that you've said and everything else, and since that, I know that a lot of people either they don't understand the terminology, but when you say that the lack of divine appearances and or deities and things like that, because when I say or allude to certain things that I practice or believe in, that it's science. And how would you more finely maybe explain that it's science and not, oh my gosh, it's that hovering genie in the air?
Well, if you told me that I was drinking a glass of wine right now and it's not in my hand, I cannot accept that to be a fact. So that's how I live my entire life. If I can sense energy, feel energy, then I'm feeling some kind of relationship with truth and actuality.
Right.
And I've lived a very successful and joyful life this way. To me, relationships with things you cannot see or prove to yourself are ways to not fully participate in your own life experience. I don't have any problem with anybody having relationships with gods or divinities or deities of any kind. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not militant about this. I don't care. Right. All I know is that if you're coming to me to create an outcome, we're going to work in the option of reality and science and things we can put our fingers on. So therefore, for me, that is the truth. You know, like I used that example in the beginning. If you tell me I have something in my hands and I don't, I'm going to say to you, this is a belief action from you and a fact action from me. And that's where I stand.
Thank you.
I think that clears up. Sure.
That's really solid. Right. So there you go.
We should write a book together today sometime. We should write a book together sometime. It would be fun.
Yes, it would. All of us.
I'd love it. The three of us. Let's write a book. Why not?
Yes.
Our own experiences. Why not?
It would be delicious.
It would be. It would be.
It would. Absolutely. Funny. I used that word earlier. Yeah. Truth. Synchronicity right there. But,
there you go.
You know, ultimately we're talking about things like energy manipulation and reality manipulation, and how to achieve those things. And, you know, we can put monikers on them, we can put names, we can do all these things. As long as the outcomes are there and provable and you're seeing it, that's where it's at, you know. And I feel like so many paths are out there that just lead you on this kind of path of the forest that seems to never end. You know.
Well, people say to me all the time that they have never found anybody else who talks in this manner about pleasure, and I say, how crazy is that? Right. Yeah, it has to be pleasurable. Why would you go to an operation such as sorcery for more work or misery? I don't understand that. You would only
conditioning.
Go
you know, we're conditioned to think pleasure is bad, and you know,
masochism.
You know, working, 80 hours a week is good and pleasure is bad. And, but when you objectively look at that, you have to say that that's completely screwed up. And why would I want to live that way?
Exactly. And it is possible to live the other way. I live in proof of that. It is possible to make a decision that pleasure is what you must be seeking all the time. And pleasure and selfishness are natural in the animal kingdom. It's what keeps them alive. So therefore, why wouldn't it be amongst the overburdened human community?
It keeps the race going, and it keps us going. Yeah. But, I think you give yourself up to control factors when you start to think the other way.
Yeah.
You're now being controlled. You're not really thinking for yourself.
I'm not any good at that, Chris. You might notice that.
Exactly. And neither am I. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we've grown in this friendship for so long. We're both very clear about that. It's a good thing.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. A certain non-acceptance for control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am going to actually have to go. I have an 11:15 phone call, so I'm going to
no worries.
Have to get off. But, let's do this again. And, next time we'll try and get in a little bit earlier and make it work. But I'm really excited to have the opportunity to do this tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, sure. Of course. All right. More to follow. I'm going to have to head out. It's been great talking to you. To anybody who's listening, if you have any questions, you can go through Chris. You can go through Seraphine. You can come to me, whatever you like. Sorceress Cagliastro at gmail.com. I can't keep it simpler than that.
Works for us.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Well, that was an awesome interview with Sorceress Cagliastro.
Right on. Yeah, it was. It was.
And thank you to Kat Hobson for letting us go over a little bit, since we got a little bit of a hitch in our get along there. And I know that it's getting a little bit late.
I was wondering if we're even actually on air, if we're just talking. I'm not even sure at this point. Kat, are we on the air?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Just checking. I wasn't sure.
So we're in closing. Did you have any words of wisdom, Chris?
Words of wisdom.
Words of
Chris
wisdom.
Carr.
Deep thoughts with Chris Carr.
Yeah. Live your life. Be an individual. Do not conform. Be yourself. Good things will happen.
Yes.
And I'll hit off my vape here and leave you with that, because that is the truth. And it's inspiring. It's very inspiring listening to her, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely inspiring. And I just can't stress enough that she is one of the people. I mean, like I said, I have very few favorite people in my life, because I don't like a whole bunch of humans. I like animals a lot more, fortunately. But she's one of my favorite human being people. And it's because she is so down to earth. So folks, if you're listening to this and you've never heard of Sorceress and you're very curious, either start out with her books, go to her website, learn a bit about her, email her, order a reading from her, because that is one of the turning points of my life. And getting involved in a lot of this is actually getting a reading from her. And like I said, she is one of the most down-to-earth people that you'll probably ever meet. She's awesome. So this has been an awesome show. So thank you.
Not just from us. I know some other students and all of them. We're all big fans, and we're big fans for a reason.
Yes.
And it has made an impact. So I don't know. I don't come across a lot of people like that in my life. So definitely something to check out if you're into magic, you're into paths, you're into sorcery, you're into changing your reality, you're into just getting better at life
coach.
And winning the game, as opposed to losing that game. Yeah, there's a person to look at for sure. Check her stuff out.
Definitely. And thank you, Chris and Clarissa, for having me on here on Hidden World.
Seraphine, I'm so happy you came. Thank God. You can tell time. Not that that's why I had you on, but seriously, that's part of why I had you on, because you can tell time. And I lose track of time so easily, and we do have these commercial breaks and stuff, and I don't want to hold up Kat and the network and yourself. So thank you Thank you. And plus, you've had a whole lot to add, and it's been awesome getting to know you better. So,
well, awesome getting to know you better
stuff.
as well.
We got to do this again.
Oh, definitely, and hopefully Clarissa is having a good time, and we'll